The day began quietly in Dixon, Kentucky, one of those soft, muted mornings where the sun feels hesitant, as if unsure whether it should rise at all. Inside Amanda Halterman's home, everything carried a sense of stillness she couldn't explain. She had woken up with a strange tightness in her chest, a heaviness that wasn't physical but emotional, the kind she'd felt only a few times in her life. It was the kind of feeling that tells you something is shifting, even before you know what it is. Amanda sat at the edge of her bed, elbows on her knees, fingers interlocked as she stared at the floor. Sleep had been rough lately. Her health had been weakening in quiet, frustrating ways, fatigue that clung to her bones, headaches that lingered, moments where her breath felt shorter than she remembered. But even with everything she was dealing with, there was one person who always made the load feel lighter: her boyfriend, Leonard. Leonard had entered her life at a moment she thought love had permanently closed its door. He wasn't loud, he wasn't attention-seeking. If anything, he was the opposite. Soft-spoken, patient, gentle with his words. He had this way of making Amanda feel seen, truly seen, without needing her to hide her flaws or put on a brave face. When he showed up, it wasn't in grand gestures, but in quiet consistency, the kind that builds trust where old wounds once lived. But over the last few weeks, even Leonard had seemed a little distant, stretched thin with his own responsibilities. They had talked less than usual. Their good morning and good night texts came later each day. Amanda brushed it off as life being busy, but a part of her wondered whether something heavier hung beneath his silence. Now, this morning, as she stared toward her phone on the nightstand, she felt an uneasiness she couldn't shake. She picked it up, hoping to see his name on the screen. Nothing. She sighed softly, pushing herself to stand. Her legs felt stiff, reminding her of the long road her body had traveled these past few years. She walked slowly through the house, trying not to think too hard about the ache in her back, the swelling that had returned to her feet, the weight plateau that had left her feeling trapped in her own skin. Her phone buzzed suddenly, sharp, loud, jarring. Amanda froze for half a heartbeat before grabbing it quickly. The message wasn't from Leonard. It was from a number she didn't know. The preview text only showed a few words, but they chilled her instantly. "Amanda, it's about Leonard." Her stomach dropped. She opened the message with trembling hands. As she read the words, her entire body went cold. She blinked repeatedly, as if her eyes were malfunctioning, as if the meaning would change if she just tried harder to reread it. But it didn't change. The truth sat there, heavy, immovable, cruel. Leonard was gone. Sudden. Unexpected. No warning, no slow decline she could have prepared for, no last conversation to hold on to. One moment he was there, living, breathing, promising her a life that finally felt steady, and in the next moment, everything she knew collapsed beneath her. Amanda's breath hitched. She grabbed the edge of the kitchen counter to steady herself, but her knees still wobbled beneath the weight of the news. There was something surreal about tragedies that arrive through a simple text message. It felt wrong, unfair, like the universe hadn't even bothered to soften the blow. She couldn't cry yet. The shock was too thick, too suffocating. Her body went still, as if frozen in time. Memories flashed across her mind in fractured pieces. The way Leonard's laughter filled a room, the way he teased her when she got too serious, the way he would lift her chin whenever she tried to look away, softly reminding her she deserved to be loved. And now nothing. Nothing but an echo, a void, a silence she wasn't ready to face. Amanda reached for her phone again, desperately scrolling, searching for details, something, anything that would explain how a man who had kissed her goodnight just days ago was suddenly no longer breathing on this earth. But the message offered no clarity, only heartbreak. Her hands began to shake harder. Her chest tightened in a way that made her grip the counter even more firmly. Grief pressed against her ribs like a physical weight. The house felt too quiet now, too still, too empty. She tried to inhale deeply, to ground herself, but the air caught in her throat. She wasn't ready for this. She wasn't ready for another loss, another blow, another chapter of pain she didn't ask for. And yet it was here, Unavoidable. Irreversible. Final. For a long moment, Amanda remained completely silent, staring blankly at the wall. Tears didn't fall, not yet. Her mind was still trying to understand how life could change so drastically in a single minute. And deep inside her chest, beneath the shock and disbelief, something else stirred, an ache she feared would never fully heal. The minutes that followed felt like hours. Amanda moved slowly through the house, each step unsure, as though she were learning how to walk all over again. Her hands kept drifting to her phone, gripping it tightly, as if holding onto it would somehow pull Leonard back into existence. She reread the message again and again, hoping she had misunderstood it. Hoping maybe there was a mistake. Hoping anything would make the words untrue. But there was no mistake. When the shock began to crack, the first wave of reality came rushing in. It was sharp, like cold water poured over her entire body. Amanda stumbled toward the living room and dropped onto the couch, the cushions sinking under her weight as though they were pulling her down into a grief she wasn't ready to face. The silence of the room pressed against her ears. She could hear her own breathing, shaky and uneven. She pressed her hand to her chest instinctively, trying to steady the rhythm, trying to convince her heart not to fall apart. She had never been good at handling sudden losses. They always felt personal, intentional, as if life was doing it on purpose, snatching away the things she dared to care about. As she stared blankly at the TV screen, memories of Leonard played through her mind like flickering scenes from a movie. She could almost hear his voice, calm and warm, telling her, "You're stronger than you think, Amanda. Stop doubting yourself." The words hit her harder now. Stronger than she thought? She didn't feel strong at all. She felt fragile, like glass held together only by habit. Her phone buzzed again, another message. This time from her sister Amy. "You okay? Haven't heard from you this morning." Amanda's thumb hovered over the keyboard. What was she supposed to say? How could she put something so massive into a few words? How could she explain that her world had just shifted completely off balance? She started typing, deleted it, typed again, deleted again. Nothing felt right. Nothing felt enough. Finally, she put the phone down. She wasn't ready. Not yet. If she said it out loud, if she shared it with someone else, then it would become real in a way she wasn't ready for. She leaned back into the couch and closed her eyes. The darkness behind her eyelids wasn't comforting. It was loud, full of memories and fears, full of all the things she didn't want to think about. She felt the ache in her throat grow thicker. Her breathing became shallow again, and she pressed a hand to her chest. This wasn't just emotional pain. She could feel the familiar strain she had been struggling with these past few months. The exhaustion that never seemed to leave. The dizziness that came suddenly and left her disoriented. The heaviness that made even simple tasks feel like climbing a hill. Her doctors had warned her that stress could make her symptoms worse. And this wasn't just stress. This was heartbreak, sudden, brutal, merciless. Amanda slowly shifted forward, elbows on her knees, her hands covering her face. She didn't cry, not yet. The tears were building, gathering strength, but they were still trapped behind a barrier she couldn't break through. It was the kind of numbness she had learned to build after too many disappointments. But her body felt it. Her mind felt it. Her heart was already cracking under the pressure. She reached out and grabbed the blanket draped across the couch, pulling it around her shoulders. She felt small, exposed, vulnerable in a way she hadn't felt since the darkest days of her weight struggles. Leonard had been the one to remind her she deserved to be cared for. He had been the one to sit with her during her worst flare-ups, holding her hand quietly, without forcing comfort. He understood that sometimes you didn't need words, you needed presence. And now she would never feel that presence again. Somewhere in the distance outside, a siren blared, slicing through the stillness of the morning. For a moment, Amanda imagined it was connected to him, that maybe the sirens had been for Leonard, echoing through the dawn while she slept unknowingly in her bed. The thought broke something inside her. Her chin trembled, her lips quivered, and finally, the first tear escaped. It slid slowly down her cheek, warm and heavy, falling onto her hand. Then another followed, and another, until suddenly there was no holding back. The dam burst. Amanda covered her face with both hands as her body shook with quiet, painful sobs. The sound of her crying filled the room, raw and heartbreaking. It wasn't loud. It was the kind of grief that comes from the deepest part of a person, the kind that steals the air from your lungs. She wasn't crying because she was weak. She wasn't crying because she didn't know how to survive this. She was crying because she loved. And now that love had nowhere to go. After what felt like an eternity, Amanda wiped her face with trembling fingers. The tears didn't make anything easier. They only made the truth clear. Leonard was gone, and she didn't know how she was going to face the world without him. The rest of the morning moved in strange, uneven fragments. Amanda felt like she was wandering through a dream she desperately wanted to wake up from. Sometimes she found herself standing in the kitchen without remembering how she got there. Other times she was back on the couch, staring at the same spot on the wall, lost in the fog inside her mind. Her phone kept buzzing, texts, notifications, missed calls, but she couldn't bring herself to look at any of it. She wasn't ready to face questions, sympathy, or the voices of people who didn't know the depth of what she had just lost. The world outside continued moving as if nothing had changed.
Cars drove by. Dogs barked.
Kids laughed in the distance. It felt wrong. It felt cruel. How could everything stay normal when her life had just shattered? Amanda moved toward the window and pulled back the curtain. The sky was painfully bright, one of those crisp, cold mornings where the sunlight hits everything too sharply. She squinted, feeling the sting in her eyes. Leonard would have loved this kind of morning. He used to say it felt like a fresh start. The irony made her chest tighten painfully. She leaned her forehead against the cool glass and closed her eyes. The memories came again, this time more vivid. The way Leonard would reach for her hand without asking. The way he laughed with his whole body. The way he looked at her like she was someone worth fighting for. She remembered their late-night talks, sitting on her porch with blankets wrapped around them. He would talk about little things, favorite movies, childhood memories, silly stories that didn't matter, but they mattered to her because he shared them with her. He made her feel seen. He made her feel chosen. And now the silence where his voice used to be felt unbearable. Amanda stepped back from the window, her breath fogging against the glass. Her legs felt heavy as she walked toward the table. She pulled out a chair and sat down slowly, like her body was made of stone. She couldn't avoid telling her family forever. She knew that. Amy would come by later, or Tammy would call repeatedly until she answered. Her sisters were loud, emotional, complicated, but they were her family. And despite all the chaos between them, they loved her. They wouldn't let her suffer alone. But right now, the idea of saying the words out loud, "Leonard is gone," felt impossible. Her voice would break. Her heart would break again. She bent forward, resting her forehead against the table. The wood felt cool beneath her skin. She closed her eyes and whispered a single sentence into the empty room. "I can't do this." Her voice cracked on the last word. She didn't mean she couldn't survive it. Deep down, she knew she would. She had survived worse. She had survived heartbreak, divorce, health scares, surgeries, weight struggles, family drama, and betrayals. But this hurt in a different way. It wasn't just the loss of a person, it was the loss of the future she had imagined with him. The conversations they hadn't finished. The plans they hadn't made. The life they hadn't lived. A soft knock suddenly echoed through the hallway. Amanda froze. Her heart jumped, slamming against her chest. She wiped her eyes quickly, her fingers trembling. She wasn't expecting anyone, not yet. And she wasn't ready to see anyone either. Another knock. A little louder. Amanda forced herself to stand. Her legs wobbled beneath her, but she managed to walk toward the front door. Her breath felt thick in her throat. What if it was one of her sisters? What if someone already heard? What if they knew? She reached for the doorknob slowly and opened the door just enough to see who it was. It wasn't Amy. It wasn't Tammy. And it wasn't anyone she expected. It was Leonard's sister. Eyes red. face pale, breathing shaky. In that single moment, Amanda felt the bottom fall out of her world.
She didn't need to ask.
She didn't need to hear anything more. The look on the woman's face was confirmation enough. The nightmare was real. The loss was real. The heartbreak was real. Leonard was truly gone. Amanda's hand slipped from the doorframe, and for a split second, she thought she might collapse right there. But Leonard's sister stepped forward quickly and wrapped her arms around Amanda, holding her tightly. And that's when the tears came back, harder, sharper, unstoppable. Amanda buried her face into her shoulder, sobbing in a way she hadn't let herself before. Not quietly, not controlled, but broken, raw, and aching. Leonard's sister cried too, trembling as she held Amanda up. They were two women grieving the same man in different ways. One who lost a brother, one who lost the person who made her believe love could still exist after everything she'd been through. They clung to each other for several minutes, standing in the doorway like the world had gone still. When they finally pulled apart, Leonard's sister spoke in a barely audible whisper. "He talked about you all the time. He loved you so much." Amanda felt something inside her collapse completely. She stepped aside silently, letting her in. She knew the conversation they were about to have would change everything. She knew it would hurt, but she also knew she couldn't hide from it anymore. The truth was here, standing in her doorway, and she had no choice but to face it. The house felt unbearably quiet once Leonard's sister stepped inside. Amanda closed the door slowly, each click of the latch echoing in the emptiness around her. She sank onto the couch, wrapping her arms tightly around herself as if she could physically hold back the weight of reality pressing down on her. Leonard's sister sat down across from her, hesitating before speaking. Her hands fidgeted with the hem of her shirt. I wanted you to know everything," she said finally. "The doctors, it happened so fast. There wasn't anything anyone could do." Amanda swallowed hard, the lump in her throat nearly suffocating her. "I know," she whispered, though part of her didn't. How could she ever truly know? How could she comprehend the fact that Leonard, her rock, her safe place, was gone? She pressed her hands to her face and let herself cry again, louder this time. The tears burned, but they felt almost cleansing, like her body was expelling the weight of grief she had been holding back for days. Her mind flashed back to the last conversation she had with Leonard. He had been so full of life, so full of hope, so utterly convinced that the future they were building together was possible. And now, that future had been ripped from her hands, leaving only shadows where dreams once lived. Leonard's sister reached across the couch and took Amanda's hand gently. "He loved you," she repeated, her voice breaking. "Every day, he loved you." Amanda's lips trembled as she managed a shaky nod. I loved him too. More than I ever thought I could love someone again." For a moment, they just sat there, hands clasped together, letting the silence fill the room. Outside, the wind rustled through the trees, leaves brushing against the windows. The world moved on, but inside, time felt suspended. Amanda thought about the life she had been planning with Leonard, the little dinners at home, the road trips, the laughter, the arguments, the quiet nights of comfort. All of it gone. And yet, she knew that the love she had shared with him wasn't something she could ever erase. It would stay with her, a permanent imprint on her heart. She finally lifted her head, looking at Leonard's sister with red-rimmed eyes. I don't know how I'm going to do this," she admitted, her voice cracking. "How do I keep going when everything feels empty?" "You take it one day at a time," Leonard's sister said softly. "1 hour at a time if you have to. You lean on the people who love you, and you let yourself feel it, all of it. The sadness, the anger, the confusion. You don't have to be strong all at once." Amanda nodded, taking a deep, shaky breath. It was a small step, but it was something. For the first time since hearing the news, she felt a tiny spark of clarity amidst the storm of grief. Her phone buzzed on the coffee table. She ignored it at first, not ready to face the messages, the calls, the sympathy texts. But then, with a trembling hand, she picked it up. Amy's name flashed across the screen. She pressed accept. "Amy," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Amanda didn't have to say more. Amy's voice, warm and steady, came through immediately, wrapping around her like a protective blanket. "I'm here, Amanda. I'm not going anywhere." Tears streamed down her face again, but this time they were accompanied by a strange, fragile sense of comfort. She wasn't alone. She had her family. She had support. And maybe, just maybe, she could start to find a way forward. Outside, the sun broke through the clouds, casting a sliver of light across the living room. Amanda looked at it and allowed herself a single thought. Life would go on. It might be hard. It might be painful, but it would go on. And Amanda Halterman, strong, determined, resilient Amanda, was going to face it. Send 5 when you're ready for part 5. You said. 5 ChatGPT said. Here's part 5 continuing the story in the same cinematic style. The next morning, Amanda woke to the quiet hum of the early sun spilling through her bedroom window. The house felt too big, too empty. Every corner reminded her of Leonard, his laugh, his small habits, the way he always left the coffee mug in the sink. The absence was a weight she carried like a second skin. She slid out of bed, her legs heavy as lead. Even the simplest task felt monumental. Yet, there was a whisper of determination in her chest, a tiny flame that refused to be extinguished. Leonard had believed in her. He had loved her at her heaviest, at her lowest, at her most vulnerable. And now, she owed it to herself and to him to keep moving forward. Amanda's phone buzzed. Messages from friends and family poured in, each one a reminder that she wasn't alone. She hesitated before opening them, afraid the flood of sympathy would drown her. But she tapped the screen and found herself smiling through tears. Words of encouragement, memories of Leonard, even small jokes from Amy made her feel connected, grounded. Determined not to let grief completely consume her, Amanda pulled on her sneakers and stepped outside. The air was crisp, carrying the faint smell of autumn leaves and dew. She hadn't walked this morning in months, but today it felt necessary. Every step was painful, every breath a reminder of her vulnerability, but also of her resilience. As she walked through the quiet neighborhood, memories of Leonard played in her mind like a bittersweet film. She remembered the way he encouraged her during workouts, the way he celebrated her small victories, the way he held her hand when she felt most uncertain. That hand, so warm, so steady, was gone now, but the lessons he left behind lingered. Amanda's heart ached, but her resolve strengthened. She knew she couldn't undo the past, couldn't bring Leonard back, but she could honor his memory by continuing the journey they had started together. She would eat healthy, stay active, and rebuild the confidence she had started to reclaim before tragedy struck. Back inside, she opened her laptop and drafted a message to her followers. It wasn't easy to write, her hands shaking as the words spilled onto the screen. "I've faced a loss that I never expected. Leonard was my heart, my support, my love. But I know he would want me to keep moving forward, to keep fighting for my health and happiness. I won't forget him, and I won't stop trying. This journey isn't just for me. It's for us, for Leonard, and for everyone who's ever faced heartbreak. Thank you for being with me." She hesitated before posting, then clicked share. Within minutes, the messages of support flooded in. Strangers, friends, family, they were all there, holding her up when she couldn't hold herself. Amanda felt a strange mix of grief and gratitude, sorrow and determination. Later, Amy came over, carrying a thermos of tea and a stack of blankets. She sat beside Amanda on the couch, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "You don't have to do this alone," Amy said softly. "We're here. Every step, every tear. You won't face it by yourself." Amanda leaned into her sister, letting herself rest against the warmth of family. The pain of loss was still there, sharp and relentless, but she realized that strength wasn't about never falling, it was about getting back up every time. By evening, Amanda stood at the mirror, looking at her reflection. She saw the tired eyes, the tear-streaked cheeks, but also a spark she hadn't noticed before. She was still standing. She was still fighting. And she would continue, for Leonard, for herself, and for the promise of brighter days ahead. Outside, the first stars appeared in the dusky sky. Amanda whispered a small prayer, not for what she had lost, but for what she still had the power to create. She would honor Leonard by living, by loving, by reclaiming her life one day at a time. And as the night settled in, Amanda felt the tiniest glimmer of hope. It was fragile, like the flicker of a candle in the wind, but it was enough. The following morning, Amanda woke to a quiet house. The silence was almost deafening, a stark contrast to the laughter and chatter she had shared with Leonard. She lay in bed for a few moments, staring at the ceiling, letting the memories wash over her like waves. The ache in her chest was still raw, but beneath it was a simmering determination. Leonard's love had always been a source of strength, and now it had to be her guide. Amanda pulled on her workout clothes, feeling the fabric cling to her in unfamiliar ways. The scale in the corner of the room had become a reminder, not of failure, but of the journey she was on. She wasn't just fighting grief anymore, she was reclaiming herself, piece by piece. Outside, the morning air was brisk, carrying the scent of wet earth and fallen leaves. She decided to go for a walk through the neighborhood, letting her feet lead the way while her mind processed the whirlwind of emotions. Every step was heavy at first, weighed down by sadness and exhaustion. But slowly, with each passing block, she began to feel the fire of determination ignite in her chest. Along the route, she noticed small details she had overlooked before, the way sunlight danced on the trees, the sound of birds chirping, the distant laughter of children playing. These simple moments reminded her that life still held beauty, even in the midst of heartbreak. By the time she returned home, Amanda felt a renewed sense of purpose. She knew she couldn't rush healing, but she could take steps, small, deliberate steps, toward becoming the best version of herself. She poured a glass of water, sipped slowly, and let her mind focus on what lay ahead: her health, her happiness, and her goals. Later that afternoon, Amanda connected with her followers online. She shared a candid post, writing about her journey since Leonard's passing, the struggles she faced, and the renewed determination she felt. The response was immediate and overwhelming: messages of encouragement, personal stories from fans, and reminders that she wasn't alone in her journey. The digital support gave her a sense of connection she hadn't realized she needed. Amanda then called her sister Amy, who arrived within the hour, bringing a basket of healthy meals and snacks. "I know it's been rough," Amy said, hugging Amanda tightly. "But I also know how strong you are. Leonard believed in you, and so do I." Together, they planned the next steps of Amanda's journey: a new workout routine, a balanced meal plan, and regular check-ins to track progress. More than just weight loss, Amanda focused on mental and emotional health, recognizing that healing required care for the whole self. That evening, as Amanda sat on the porch sipping herbal tea, she reflected on the path she was on. The road would be long, and moments of doubt and sorrow would surely return. But she had a vision now, a life filled with health, love, and purpose. Leonard's memory was no longer just a source of pain, it was a beacon guiding her forward. Amanda smiled faintly at the setting sun. For the first time in weeks, she felt a sense of calm and readiness. She couldn't change the past, but she could shape her future. And with that thought, she resolved to take each day at a time, honoring Leonard by living fully, courageously, and with unwavering determination. The next morning, Amanda woke earlier than usual. The weight of grief still lingered, but she was determined to channel it into action. She set a timer on her phone and began a gentle stretching routine in the living room, letting the music she loved guide her movements. Each stretch, each controlled breath, was a declaration that she would not be defeated by sorrow. Afterwards, she prepared a light breakfast, oatmeal with fresh fruit and a drizzle of honey, and sat by the window, watching the sun climb over the Kentucky skyline. The world moved forward, as it always did, and Amanda knew she had to do the same. She reminded herself that healing was not linear. There would be setbacks, but every small victory mattered. Later, Amanda headed out for her weekly support group meeting, a circle of women who shared stories of weight loss, health challenges, and personal growth. The room was warm, filled with understanding and encouragement. She shared her journey openly, her struggles with grief, the plateau in her weight loss, and her renewed motivation to live a healthier life. One woman in the group, seeing Amanda's vulnerability, said softly, "Your strength isn't just in losing weight, it's in showing up every day, even when it's hard." Amanda nodded, absorbing the words. It was a reminder that resilience was often invisible, but it mattered immensely. Returning home, Amanda felt a surge of energy. She decided to tackle a small home project she had been putting off, reorganizing her kitchen to make healthy cooking easier. She cleared countertops, sorted cabinets, and created an inviting space that inspired her to make better choices. Every action, no matter how mundane, became a step toward reclaiming control over her life. In the afternoon, she took a long walk through the local park, letting her thoughts wander. The crisp air and rustling leaves seemed to whisper encouragement. Amanda reflected on her family, her sisters Tammy and Amy, and the love and support they had always given her. She realized she wasn't alone. Her family, friends, and even her followers formed a network of strength around her. By evening, Amanda felt a sense of accomplishment. She had moved her body, nurtured her mind, and prepared herself for the days ahead. She cooked a simple, healthy dinner and shared it on social media, along with a message about resilience and moving forward despite loss. The response was immediate. Followers shared their support, applauded her determination, and reminded her that she was an inspiration. As night fell, Amanda sat quietly in her living room, journaling her thoughts and reflecting on the day. She wrote about Leonard, about the grief, and about the victories, small but significant, that she had achieved. Closing the journal, she felt a sense of peace settle over her. The path ahead was long, but she was walking it with intention and courage. Amanda knew the journey wasn't over, but for the first time in weeks, she felt a flicker of hope, a belief that she could honor Leonard's memory by living fully, embracing challenges, and growing stronger with every passing day. The following week, Amanda decided to take her weight loss journey to a new level. She scheduled a consultation with a nutritionist who specialized in post-bariatric surgery care. The session was enlightening. Amanda learned new strategies to manage her plateau, focusing on nutrient-dense meals, proper hydration, and mindful eating. She left the office feeling empowered, ready to tackle the challenges ahead. At home, Amanda began implementing the changes immediately. Breakfast became a colorful smoothie packed with spinach, berries, and protein powder. Lunches were carefully prepared salads with lean protein and a variety of fresh vegetables. Evenings included gentle strength exercises in her living room, guided by videos she had found online. Every bite and every movement was deliberate, a conscious step toward reclaiming control over her health. Despite her dedication, Amanda faced emotional obstacles. Memories of Leonard often surfaced, tugging at her heart and testing her resolve. Some nights, tears came unbidden, threatening to undo the progress she had made. Yet she refused to let grief dictate her actions. She found comfort in journaling, recording her thoughts and emotions as a way to process the loss and honor the love she had experienced. With her family by her side, a healthy plan in place, and an unshakable will to succeed, Amanda was ready to take on whatever challenges awaited. The next few weeks were filled with small victories and steady progress. Amanda began noticing tangible changes, not just in her body, but in her energy levels and mood. Walking up the stairs no longer left her breathless, and tasks that once seemed daunting felt more manageable. Even her confidence in social situations grew. She found herself laughing more freely, engaging more openly, and feeling proud of the person she was becoming. Amanda's family continued to be a pillar of support. Tammy had taken to sending daily messages of encouragement, often peppered with humor to lift Amanda's spirits. "Remember, slow and steady wins the race, and you've got this in the bag, or at least in the salad bowl," Tammy joked one morning, eliciting a chuckle from Amanda. Amy also kept in close contact, frequently sharing stories of her own struggles and triumphs, creating a sense of solidarity that Amanda cherished. The emotional challenges, however, didn't disappear entirely. Amanda still felt waves of sadness over Leonard's passing, particularly in quiet moments when memories would surface unexpectedly. She learned to acknowledge the grief without letting it control her actions. Meditation, journaling, and even long walks became tools to help her process her emotions, turning what could have been setbacks into opportunities for growth. Amanda also began experimenting with new forms of physical activity. She discovered yoga and Pilates online, enjoying the blend of gentle movement and mindfulness. Each session left her feeling more connected to her body and more capable of facing challenges with patience and grace. She was slowly building a foundation of strength, both physical and emotional, that would support her long-term health goals. During this period, Amanda made a decision that surprised even her. She wanted to share more of her journey with the public. While previously private, she realized that by opening up about her struggles and victories, she could inspire others facing similar challenges. She began documenting her workouts, meal preparations, and reflective moments, emphasizing authenticity over perfection. Her Instagram became a platform for motivation and encouragement, resonating with thousands of followers who were inspired by her honesty. Amanda's renewed focus and visibility also caught the attention of 1,000-pound Sisters fans who hadn't followed her closely before. Comments poured in praising her resilience, determination, and the authenticity she brought to her updates. "You're such an inspiration, Amanda," one follower wrote. "Your journey shows that it's never too late to take control of your life." Amanda smiled, feeling a sense of purpose she hadn't experienced in years. As the days turned into weeks, Amanda found herself setting higher goals. She aimed not only to reach a comfortable weight, but also to cultivate a lifestyle that balanced health, happiness, and emotional well-being. Each day's effort, whether small or significant, was a step toward reclaiming her life on her own terms. One evening, Amanda prepared a special dinner for herself, reflecting on how far she had come. She set the table, lit a candle, and allowed herself a moment of quiet celebration. It was a simple act, but it symbolized her dedication to self-care and self-love. In that quiet moment, Amanda whispered to herself, "I am stronger than I thought, and I am ready for the future." The weeks that followed marked a turning point for Amanda. Her consistent efforts in health, fitness, and self-care were paying off, and she began to notice changes not only in her appearance, but also in her confidence and mental resilience. She walked with more purpose, spoke with greater clarity, and smiled more freely, small but significant signs of her transformation. Amanda decided to take her journey one step further. Inspired by her progress, she signed up for a local charity 5K walk. Though she knew it would be a challenge, the event represented more than just physical activity. It symbolized her determination to reclaim control over her life. On the morning of the walk, she laced up her sneakers, adjusted her supportive braces, and stepped outside, feeling the crisp air fill her lungs. Her family was by her side, offering encouragement every step of the way. Tammy rode alongside in her wheelchair, cheering Amanda on, while Amy jogged beside her, offering guidance and support. Even Small Gage and Glenn waved enthusiastically from the sidelines, their excitement infectious. With each step, Amanda felt a mix of exhilaration and exhaustion, but she refused to quit. Midway through the course, Amanda paused to catch her breath. A young girl ran up to her with a bright smile and a small sign that read, "You can do it." Amanda's heart swelled with emotion. It wasn't just about finishing the race. It was about proving to herself that she was capable, resilient, and deserving of the life she envisioned. By the time she crossed the finish line, Amanda was sweating, tired, but triumphant. Her family erupted in cheers, hugging her tightly. "I did it," Amanda exclaimed, laughter mixing with tears. She realized that the journey wasn't about the weight on the scale. It was about persistence, self-love, and the courage to keep moving forward despite challenges. The charity event also marked a new beginning in her social presence. Amanda documented her experience on Instagram, sharing images of her journey and heartfelt reflections about determination, grief, and renewal. Fans flooded her posts with messages of support and admiration. "Amanda, you're a true inspiration," one follower wrote. "Your story shows that strength comes from within." In the evenings, Amanda began experimenting with healthy cooking, trying new recipes that nourished her body and sparked creativity. She shared these meals online, offering tips and encouragement for others seeking a healthier lifestyle. Each dish, each post, each moment of discipline reinforced her commitment to long-term transformation. Her relationship with Leonard remained a guiding force, even in his absence. The love and motivation she had felt from him continued to fuel her determination to live her best life. Amanda often reflected on the lessons learned from her relationship, the importance of honesty, support, and perseverance, and integrated them into her daily routines. Amanda also began to think about her role on 1,000-Pound Sisters. While she hadn't sought the spotlight previously, her journey had naturally drawn attention. She realized that by openly sharing her experiences, she could inspire fans and perhaps influence the show's narrative in a meaningful way. The combination of family support, personal motivation, and fan encouragement created a powerful ecosystem that empowered Amanda to thrive. By the end of the month, Amanda had set new personal goals, increasing her strength through low-impact exercise, maintaining consistent nutritional habits, and continuing to document her journey authentically. Each day became a testament to her resilience, her willingness to embrace change, and her dedication to living a fuller, healthier life. Sitting quietly one evening, Amanda reflected on her journey. From heartbreak to self-discovery, from grief to triumph, she had evolved into a stronger, more determined version of herself. She whispered softly to herself, a mantra that had guided her through countless challenges. "I am capable. I am resilient. I am ready." It was clear to Amanda, and to everyone watching, that her journey was far from over. Yet, with each step, she was forging a path defined by courage, love, and an unwavering commitment to herself. As Amanda's momentum grew, she started to realize the emotional aspects of her journey were just as significant as the physical ones. While she had celebrated small wins on the scale and during her workouts, she understood that true transformation also involved addressing her mental health and emotional well-being. Therapy sessions became a cornerstone of her daily routine. Through honest conversations with her counselor, Amanda explored past traumas, patterns of self-doubt, and ways to cope with stress without turning to old habits. At home, Amanda began implementing daily rituals to foster mindfulness. Mornings started with deep breathing exercises and affirmations, while evenings ended with journaling about gratitude and reflections on progress. These moments of self-reflection helped her build resilience and allowed her to appreciate how far she had come. She realized that while weight loss was measurable, self-love and confidence were immeasurable victories that mattered just as much. Family support continued to be a driving force. Tammy and Amy, though each navigating their own challenges, consistently checked in on Amanda. Video calls with Tammy became a cherished routine when they weren't physically together, a time to share updates, vent frustrations, and celebrate achievements. Amy, too, became a source of encouragement, offering tips, recipes, and motivational words whenever Amanda needed them. The sisters' bond grew stronger, grounded in love, understanding, and shared experiences. Amanda also leaned on her fans in a meaningful way. She began posting candid videos on social media, discussing not just her weight loss, but her setbacks, emotional struggles, and strategies to stay motivated. Her followers responded with overwhelming support, often sharing their own stories of perseverance. This two-way connection provided Amanda with both accountability and inspiration. She realized she wasn't just on a personal journey. She was creating a ripple effect that encouraged others to prioritize their health and happiness. Meanwhile, Amanda's relationship with Leonard continued to influence her positively. Even though he preferred to stay out of the public eye, Leonard provided a consistent, grounding presence. He encouraged Amanda to take care of herself, pursue her goals, and embrace opportunities she might have previously shied away from. His quiet support reminded her that true motivation came from within, but having someone who genuinely cared made the journey less daunting. Midway through the season, Amanda decided to take on a more active role in 1,000-Pound Sisters. While she hadn't been a focal point before, her progress and newfound confidence gave her the courage to participate more fully in filming. Scenes highlighted her workouts, her dietary choices, and her emotional breakthroughs, painting a fuller picture of her journey. Fans quickly noticed the change, praising Amanda for her authenticity and determination. The show's producers, recognizing Amanda's growing influence, began featuring her more prominently. Her story provided a refreshing balance to the ongoing drama, showing viewers that transformation could be both inspiring and relatable. Amanda's focus wasn't on controversy or conflict, it was on her evolution, and audiences appreciated that honesty. One day, after finishing a challenging workout, Amanda sat on her porch, reflecting on everything she had accomplished. The sun was setting, casting warm hues across her backyard. She felt a deep sense of peace. "I've faced the hardest parts of myself and come out stronger," she whispered. "I'm not done yet, but I'm proud of how far I've come." That night, Amanda shared a post on Instagram with a throwback photo of herself from years ago, paired with a recent picture showing her current progress. The caption read, "Every step, every struggle, every victory counts. Here's to continuing the journey and never giving up." Fans flooded the comments with love, encouragement, and admiration. It was a reminder that her story was inspiring countless others, and that her journey was bigger than just herself. It was about hope, resilience, and transformation. Amanda's commitment to herself, her family, and her health had reached a pivotal moment. She realized that while challenges would continue to arise, her inner strength, supported by love and determination, could carry her through anything. The path ahead was long, but Amanda was ready to embrace every step, every hurdle, and every triumph along the way. As Amanda's transformation continued, she began to explore new ways to challenge herself beyond weight loss. Fitness had become more than a goal, it was a lifestyle, a way to regain control over her body and mind. She experimented with different workouts, from strength training to yoga and Pilates, discovering which routines made her feel strong, flexible, and confident. Amanda even started documenting these sessions on her Instagram stories, not just to inspire followers, but to track her own progress. Her renewed energy and self-assurance also gave her the courage to tackle personal goals she had previously set aside. Amanda began planning her future with Leonard, envisioning adventures, home projects, and shared experiences that didn't revolve around the show or her weight. She realized that happiness wasn't solely about achieving a number on the scale. It was about living fully, cultivating love, and embracing moments that brought her joy. Yet, the journey was not without setbacks. Amanda occasionally hit plateaus in her weight loss, and there were days when self-doubt crept in. On such days, she reminded herself that progress wasn't linear. By revisiting old photos, journaling, and leaning on her support system, Amanda learned to view challenges as opportunities rather than failures. Each setback became a lesson, teaching her patience, resilience, and the importance of celebrating small victories. Family support remained central to Amanda's life. Tammy, though often caught up in her own struggles, made a point of checking in regularly. Their phone calls were filled with laughter, advice, and sometimes tears, but they always ended with reassurance and love. Amy continued to offer encouragement and accountability, sometimes joining Amanda for outdoor walks or recipe experiments that kept them both active and engaged. Their bond strengthened through shared experiences, reminding Amanda that transformation was never meant to be a solitary journey. Amanda's growing confidence also influenced her social interactions outside the family. Friends and acquaintances noticed the change, not just physically, but in her demeanor and self-esteem. She began reconnecting with old friends and even forging new connections, recognizing that surrounding herself with positive, supportive people was crucial for sustained growth. Leonard, meanwhile, remained a constant source of encouragement, celebrating every milestone and gently guiding her when she felt unsure. On the show, Amanda's presence became increasingly meaningful. Producers feature her journey not as sensationalized drama, but as an inspiring narrative of resilience, self-discovery, and empowerment. Viewers appreciated seeing a more relatable, grounded perspective alongside the chaos and drama that often define the series. Amanda's story resonated with fans who were navigating their own challenges, showing that perseverance and self-love could lead to lasting transformation. One pivotal moment occurred during a family gathering. Amanda shared her health journey with younger family members, explaining the importance of consistency, self-compassion, and realistic goal setting. Her openness sparked conversations about wellness, mental health, and accountability, and younger viewers of the show were particularly inspired by her honesty. Amanda realized that her impact went beyond personal achievement. She was influencing the next generation to approach health and self-care thoughtfully. As the year progressed, Amanda set her sights on her long-term goals. She researched sustainable nutrition, experimented with meal planning, and challenged herself with increasingly ambitious workouts. Every small victory, from completing a longer hike to resisting unhealthy temptations, fueled her motivation. She documented these moments, often pairing them with reflections on her journey and words of encouragement for her followers. Through it all, Amanda maintained a balanced perspective. She recognized that her relationship with Leonard, while meaningful, was only one aspect of her life. Her personal growth, her family connections, and her commitment to health were equally important. By focusing on holistic well-being, Amanda learned that true transformation was not just physical, it was emotional, mental, and relational as well. As another day came to a close, Amanda paused to reflect on how far she had come. Sitting quietly in her living room, she looked at photos spanning her journey, past struggles, small successes, and the progress she had made in recent months. A sense of pride and calm washed over her. "This is just the beginning," she whispered. "I'm capable of more than I ever imagined, and I'm ready to keep going." Amanda's story was no longer just about weight loss. It was about rediscovery, empowerment, and creating a life filled with health, love, and purpose. She had faced challenges, setbacks, and uncertainties, but through determination and support, she was building a future that truly reflected the best version of herself. The turning point in Amanda's journey came when she decided to take her fitness and health to a public level. Inspired by her own progress and the support she received online, she started hosting live workouts and sharing nutrition tips on social media. Unlike the dramatic moments often highlighted on 1,000-Pound Sisters, these sessions were authentic, educational, and relatable. Amanda wanted her followers to feel empowered, not judged, as they pursued their own health goals. Her growing online presence also attracted attention from wellness brands and local fitness communities. Amanda received messages from companies offering partnerships, collaborations, and even coaching opportunities. While she remained selective, she realized that she could leverage her experience to positively influence others while also supporting her own goals. Leonard stood by her side, helping with tech setups, filming, and brainstorming ideas for her content. The couple's teamwork strengthened their relationship, and Amanda found that combining love and ambition created a powerful synergy. Meanwhile, the dynamics within the 1,000-Pound Sisters cast continued to evolve. Amanda's sisters, Amy and Tammy, noticed her newfound confidence and presence both on-screen and in the real world. Amy, who had always been protective of Amanda, encouraged her to embrace the spotlight and use her platform to showcase her achievements. Tammy, dealing with her own transformations, offered support in her unique, candid way, sometimes teasing, sometimes seriously cheering her sister on. Amanda realized that the family's chaotic energy, once a source of stress, could be transformed into motivation and love. Amanda's health journey was not without challenges. Certain days brought physical fatigue, emotional exhaustion, and moments of self-doubt. On one particularly rough morning, she woke up feeling discouraged after a week of minimal progress on the scale. Instead of succumbing to frustration, Amanda reflected on the bigger picture. She reminded herself that consistency, not perfection, defines success. She turned to journaling, meditation, and motivational posts from other health influencers to regain focus. By reframing obstacles as learning opportunities, Amanda strengthened her mental resilience, an essential component of her transformation. As the months went by, Amanda also began exploring the emotional aspects of health. Therapy and self-reflection became tools to help her understand patterns from her past, manage stress, and maintain a healthy mindset. She learned to separate her self-worth from external validation and to celebrate milestones without comparison. Leonard noticed the changes in her demeanor and often expressed pride in her emotional growth. Their relationship deepened as they navigated life's highs and lows together, proving that love and support were integral to holistic health. In one memorable moment, Amanda attended a local health expo where she was invited to speak about her journey. Nervous at first, she shared her story candidly, discussing weight loss surgery, setbacks, family dynamics, and how love and determination had fueled her progress. The audience responded with admiration, and several fans approached her afterward, expressing gratitude for her honesty. Amanda realized that her experiences had value beyond personal achievement. They could inspire and educate others facing similar struggles. Back at home, Amanda continued refining her routines. She incorporated new recipes, home workouts, and even dance classes into her schedule. Small victories, like completing a particularly challenging routine or resisting unhealthy temptations during social events, became celebrations of her commitment and resilience. Leonard often joined in these sessions, turning workouts into fun bonding experiences. Together, they set goals, tracked progress, and celebrated accomplishments, both big and small. Despite the growing demands of her online presence, Amanda remained grounded in her family life. Regular phone calls, game nights, and shared meals with Amy and Tammy reinforced her support system. Amanda understood that maintaining connections and nurturing relationships were just as important as physical transformation. The balance of self-care, family, and romance created a holistic approach that fueled her continued success. As 2025 progressed, Amanda reflected on the transformation she had undergone, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. She had learned patience, resilience, and the power of self-love. The new year brought renewed motivation, and she approached it with a sense of purpose and clarity. Amanda's story was evolving from one of personal change to one of empowerment, as she inspired both family and fans to pursue healthier, happier lives. Sitting quietly one evening, Amanda glanced at a photo from the start of her journey. The woman in the picture felt distant yet familiar. Amanda smiled, realizing how far she had come, and whispered to herself, "This is just the beginning. I'm stronger, wiser, and ready for everything ahead." The spring of 2025 brought fresh challenges and exciting opportunities for Amanda. With warmer weather and longer days, she took her workouts outdoors, embracing hiking trails, park circuits, and morning jogs with Leonard. Nature became a therapeutic backdrop for both exercise and reflection. Amanda discovered that physical activity didn't have to feel like a chore. It could be an adventure. The couple even started documenting these sessions for social media, sharing scenic views, motivational tips, and candid moments of laughter. Fans loved seeing Amanda not only working on her health, but genuinely enjoying the process. Amanda also began experimenting with new meal plans and nutritional approaches. She sought advice from dietitians, researched recipes that were both healthy and flavorful, and shared her culinary successes online. Leonard became her taste tester, often giving humorous critiques that kept the process lighthearted. Amanda realized that food, once a source of stress or guilt, could now be a tool for joy and creativity. She celebrated small victories, like trying a challenging recipe or sticking to her meal plan for an entire week, as milestones in her journey. Meanwhile, Amanda's renewed confidence started to affect her public persona. Interviews, fan events, and social media Q&As became opportunities to showcase her journey and inspire others. Unlike earlier seasons of 1,000-Pound Sisters, where her role often took a backseat, Amanda was now emerging as a voice of encouragement for those facing weight struggles. Fans began reaching out with messages of gratitude, telling her how her transparency and positivity motivated them to take steps toward their own goals. Amanda felt a renewed sense of purpose. Her story could help more than just herself. It could impact thousands. Family dynamics continued to play a significant role in Amanda's transformation. Amy and Tammy, each at different points in their journeys, provided both support and comedic relief. Amanda found strength in these bonds, understanding that family was a cornerstone of accountability and motivation. Whether through late-night phone calls, shared workouts, or honest conversations about setbacks, Amanda leaned on her sisters while also encouraging them in return. Leonard observed these interactions with admiration, seeing the resilience, love, and humor that kept Amanda grounded despite the pressures of the spotlight. However, progress was not without obstacles. Amanda faced moments of doubt, especially when comparing herself to her sisters or reflecting on her past weight loss plateaus. She reminded herself that every individual journey was unique and that setbacks were not failures but opportunities to learn and grow. Leonard's support was instrumental during these times, offering encouragement, perspective, and sometimes gentle humor to lighten difficult moments. Together, they learned that patience and persistence were key components of long-term success. Amanda also began setting new goals beyond weight loss. She explored ways to improve mental health, stress management, and emotional resilience. Meditation, journaling, and therapy became integral parts of her routine. Amanda realized that true transformation encompassed mind, body, and spirit, not just numbers on a scale. She shared these insights with her followers, encouraging them to adopt holistic approaches to their health. Fans responded enthusiastically, appreciating her candidness and relatable advice. The couple's relationship continued to flourish. Amanda and Leonard celebrated small milestones, from anniversaries to personal achievements, using these moments to strengthen their bond. Leonard's presence added stability, companionship, and joy to Amanda's life, reminding her that love could be a motivator without being the sole focus of personal growth. Together, they navigated the complexities of life, balancing romance, ambition, and family responsibilities with a shared commitment to health and happiness. By mid-2025, Amanda had cultivated a routine that balanced personal development, family, and public engagement. She reflected on the progress she had made, acknowledging that her journey was ongoing. Each step, whether it was a successful workout, a nourishing meal, or a meaningful conversation, reinforced her commitment to herself. Amanda embraced the philosophy that consistency, self-love, and resilience would guide her through challenges, setbacks, and successes alike. As the sun set over her hometown, Amanda sat with Leonard on their porch, sipping herbal tea and watching the world go by. The tranquility of the moment contrasted with the chaos of earlier seasons of 1,000-Pound Sisters, reminding her how far she had come. She felt grateful for her journey, her family, and the love that now filled her life. Amanda whispered softly, "I'm not just surviving, I'm thriving. And this is just the beginning of everything I can become." As summer approached in 2025, Amanda felt a renewed energy in her daily life. The warmer months provided opportunities for outdoor activities, family gatherings, and social events, each serving as a backdrop for growth, reflection, and celebration. Amanda and Leonard planned a weekend trip to the countryside, escaping the usual routine and enjoying quiet moments together. They hiked through green trails, shared picnics under oak trees, and laughed at their attempts to keep up with each other on nature trails. These experiences, though simple, reinforced Amanda's belief that life was not only about weight loss or health milestones, but also about savoring meaningful moments with loved ones. Amanda's fitness routine became more structured during this period. She combined strength training with cardio, often incorporating fun challenges with Leonard or her sisters. Amy and Tammy occasionally joined in, making workouts feel like family bonding sessions rather than mere obligations. Amanda noticed her stamina improving and her mood lifting, which only motivated her further. She documented these workouts on social media, offering tips, encouragement, and personal anecdotes. Fans responded positively, admiring her dedication and the honesty with which she shared both struggles and triumphs. Meanwhile, Amanda remained focused on her nutritional goals. Experimenting with balanced meals and portion control, she discovered a newfound appreciation for cooking. As the sun set over her hometown, Amanda sat with Leonard on their porch, sipping herbal tea and watching the world go by. The tranquility of the moment contrasted with the chaos of earlier seasons of 1,000-Pound Sisters, reminding her how far she had come. She felt grateful for her journey, her family, and the love that now filled her life. Amanda whispered softly, "I'm not just surviving, I'm thriving. And this is just the beginning of everything I can become." As summer approached in 2025, Amanda felt a renewed energy in her daily life. The warmer months provided opportunities for outdoor activities, family gatherings, and social events, each serving as a backdrop for growth, reflection, and celebration. Amanda and Leonard planned a weekend trip to the countryside, escaping the usual routine and enjoying quiet moments together. They hiked through green trails, shared picnics under oak trees, and laughed at their attempts to keep up with each other on nature trails. These experiences, though simple, reinforced Amanda's belief that life was not only about weight loss or health milestones, but also about savoring meaningful moments with loved ones. Amanda's fitness routine became more structured during this period. She combined strength training with cardio, often incorporating fun challenges with Leonard or her sisters. Amy and Tammy occasionally joined in, making workouts feel like family bonding sessions rather than mere obligations. Amanda noticed her stamina improving and her mood lifting, which only motivated her further. She documented these workouts on social media, offering tips, encouragement, and personal anecdotes. Fans responded positively, admiring her dedication and the honesty with which she shared both struggles and triumphs. Meanwhile, Amanda remained focused on her nutritional goals. Experimenting with balanced meals and portion control, she discovered a newfound appreciation for cooking. Leonard became her eager collaborator, helping prep ingredients, taste test, and brainstorm creative recipes. Amanda's approach to food had evolved. She no longer viewed it as an adversary, but as a tool to nourish her body, sustain energy, and fuel her goals. This perspective shift brought her a sense of empowerment, reinforcing the importance of mindset in any weight loss journey. Her social media presence also took on a new dimension. Amanda began sharing motivational posts, reflections on mental health, and candid insights about balancing romance, fitness, and personal growth. Her transparency resonated with followers who had watched her journey unfold over the years. Amanda received countless messages expressing gratitude, admiration, and curiosity about her lifestyle, proving that her influence extended beyond the show. She realized that her story, complete with setbacks, perseverance, and small victories, could inspire others to embark on their own journeys of self-improvement. In addition to physical and social growth, Amanda prioritized mental and emotional well-being. Meditation, journaling, and therapy sessions became non-negotiable parts of her weekly routine. These practices allowed her to process emotions, manage stress, and cultivate resilience. Amanda often reflected on how far she had come, from times of self-doubt and stagnation to a place of clarity, purpose, and self-confidence. She recognized that true transformation required attention to the mind, body, and heart simultaneously. Family continued to play a central role in Amanda's life. She shared daily updates with Amy and Tammy, who offered both support and friendly competition. These moments reminded her of the deep bond they shared, one strengthened through years of challenges, triumphs, and television cameras capturing their every move. Leonard witnessed these interactions with admiration, seeing how family dynamics shaped Amanda's determination, empathy, and perseverance. By midsummer, Amanda's progress was evident not only physically, but in her demeanor. She exuded confidence, happiness, and a sense of purpose that had previously been muted. Her laughter was freer, her interactions more positive, and her outlook on life more expansive. The combination of fitness, family support, and a loving relationship created a synergy that propelled her forward. Amanda reflected on the significance of balance, realizing that health was not merely about appearance, but about energy, strength, and emotional fulfillment. Amanda's journey was also about redefining priorities. She focused on sustainable habits rather than quick fixes, understanding that long-term success required consistency, patience, and self-compassion. Leonard and Amanda brainstormed ways to make healthy living a shared lifestyle. Meal planning, activity tracking, and regular check-ins became fun and meaningful rituals rather than rigid requirements. Their partnership reinforced that motivation could be found in love, accountability, and mutual support. As the sun set on a warm July evening, Amanda and Leonard sat together on the porch, sipping iced tea and reflecting on the day. Birds chirped in the distance, and the golden light highlighted the serenity of the moment. Amanda felt a sense of accomplishment, a quiet pride in her efforts, her growth, and the life she was building. She whispered softly, "This is my time, my journey, my life, and I'm ready for everything ahead."